All right. Hello, everyone. This is another edition of bringing on some families fly free members to tell you how the program has helped them save a bunch on travel and get a much better understanding of how to fly free. So today I've got with me Kathy Branch. She lives in Connecticut, is a wife and mother of two grown children. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself to start us off, Kathy? Welcome.
Thank you, Lynn. So my husband and I are recently retired from full-time work. We both still do a little bit of consulting, but we finally got to the point where we could start to think about traveling. And um, I am getting tired of getting through cold Connecticut winters.
Same
So
here in Indiana.
yes, or Michigan or Wisconsin or any other cold weather country. And we have family in Florida, so we made the decision that it was time for us to buy a little place and start snowbirding. So we did that about 2 years ago, and immediately latched onto Southwest as a great airline to do that between Hartford, Connecticut, and Tampa because of their nonstops.
Hmm.
And I also really appreciated the fact that Southwest offered the flexibility so that if we had to, change our flight, we were able to do that because we still do have obligations that change at the last minute. So this was part of our snowbird strategy was figuring out how to make Southwest Airlines and the companion pass work for us. Of course, I was booking flights for the whole first year, just paying cash for them and not having any idea that a companion pass even existed and that we always fly together. And once I learned about it, I said, it's time for me to figure out how to do this. Well, it's easy, but it's not. It's technical and there's
Hmm.
strategies. And even now that I've been doing this for 2 years, I'm still learning how to do this. And I have a girlfriend in the travel industry, and her name is Lynn. And so I am grateful. I learned a lot about how to do this. And so if you want me to continue to share, I can just tell you the reasons like, how did this pay me back?
Yeah,
Uh,
that would be a great place to start because before you really were just paying for flights. And once you joined the membership, you were able to start to understand Companion Pass and how to use Southwest points instead of actually paying. We don't ever want anyone to pay for a flight around here, right?
Exactly. And I've never been the kind of person that has like built up a point balance with a credit card. I've never cared about things like that. When I go to the grocery store, I do not care about coupons. If I clip one, I absolutely lose it every time. I've never been a couponer or a saving kind of person. I just do what I have to do.
Hmm.
However, the benefits of knowing how to do this was so much made so much sense and added so much value and saved us so much money that I had to figure it out. And I needed you to do that. So the first thing that I expected from, I'm going to call it a subscription because I feel like I'm a member of a travel club
Hmm.
and that I have monthly activities that I can plan in my retired world. Once a week I can do something with the club, the travel club, and you. And it's my webinars that I schedule and I attend. And the first thing I knew I was going to get out of this was help with how to get a companion pass. That was the first thing I needed to understand.
Uh-huh.
The second thing, though, was there are all kinds of booking strategies and how to build a point balance. Southwest Rewards points. Had never in my life bothered with anything like that, but it made so much sense listening to you. And it took a while for me to figure it out. And you had to say it several times.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, right?
Right. And then you finally, said it makes complete sense. All of your everyday spending, just put it on a Southwest Rewards travel credit card. And I was using a credit card anyway, but I was getting very little benefit back from it. I've always been a USAA credit card member, with a very little bit of cash rewards. It just didn't add an awful lot of value, but my whole new lifestyle was kicking in, and I was traveling back and forth sometimes to Florida and Connecticut once a month, either me or my husband. So you told me how to do it. You told me what cards we needed. You actually helped me to figure out what cards I didn't need in my life anymore and
Right.
how to consolidate my spending on only one or two cards that had the biggest impact for what I wanted to accomplish. And that helped me an awful lot. Um, so the things I also expected was um, my up to the minute information I would not have gotten anywhere else. Like being able to find out that, okay, folks, this month I need you to use your Chase Rewards Sapphire card for all your spending for groceries and gasoline because you're going to get so much more points. And so I would get that email and I would flip the cards out of my my little wallet and then just use that card until you sent us a note and said, folks, now it's time to start using this card this month for this purpose. And I would flip them around again and I listened.
And
And
we're only talking a couple cards here, as you mentioned, right? Like we were trying to help simplify this for people. So you don't have to be dealing with 10 cards or 6 cards, even. We're just talking a handful of cards. So it isn't confusing, really, we tell you which one to use, but it's not like you're picking among 10 cards to use for different categories of spending.
and they're all Chase cards, which has been actually wonderful because I've been able to download the Chase mobile app. I ended up with two Chase cards, a personal and a business. Chase was able to consolidate both of those cards in my mobile app
Hmm.
so that any point in the month I can just open up my mobile app, see where my spending is and what my balances are on both the personal and the business card and pay quickly and easily with a linked bank account. That whole mobile app has been really useful to me too. But other things like you're, sending an email out a week in advance saying, folks, next week on this date at this time, they're opening up flights through Thanksgiving. Know what you want to do, jump on quickly and book your flights. And I never would have gotten that information from anywhere but you. I could look around on Facebook and maybe gleaned it somewhere, but
Right.
getting your email and hearing your webinar once a week or once every 2 weeks really let me know what I needed to do. So being a member of that travel club gave me all of those benefits and they've paid me back now for at least a year and a half, 2 years. Also planning and strategizing how and when to plan my next companion pass was
Yeah.
huge.
A lot of people miss that. They can get the first one, but then they don't know how to get it again. And it's really is quite easy, right?
Well, it's not. You think it's easy, but it's not. It's extremely tricky.
Yeah.
And the timing on that and the close dates and I I
If you
need
know what you're doing, it's easy, right? You just have to ask
I
me the question.
I needed your one-on-one technical assistance. And that was another great thing was stop me if I'm doing something wrong. And you did stop me. You said, Kathy, don't do this. And I actually withdrew an application because you said the timing is not right. You need to wait until this time and date. And I was so grateful that I knew that I could request a one-on-one technical assistance session with you and say, okay, how do I do this? And when do I do this? And you think is easy. It's not easy.
Not easy to do on your own, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. I,
Mhm.
I have a girlfriend in the travel industry. So that was what I expected from being a member of the club.
And
But
you did feel like you got your investment in the membership back.
absolutely. Absolutely. Also, the other thing that so there are some secondary benefits that I didn't quite realize I was going to get,
Hmm.
and that was things like do not buy anything online unless you go through the Southwest shopping portal, because all of those points. Sometimes there are 4 points for every dollar you spend, and I'm an Eileen Fisher fan, and suddenly maybe sometimes I need something from QVC. I started paying attention to that. And I think I must have in the past year, I'm not even going to tell you how many points I got from shopping.
But if you're going to be shopping anyway, you might as well earn points for it, right?
Exactly. And it's definitely helped quite a lot too. So the things I didn't expect was that part of it. And I didn't expect, like during COVID, we were all sitting at home daydreaming about travel and finally getting out of our houses again. And being able to hop on your weekly webinar really helped me to start daydreaming about traveling and where we could go. And I really loved the month that we talked about travel in Europe. And I that turns me on. However, the guy that just walked by has been telling me for years, I want to see America. And so the whole month that you talked about how to plan trips to the national parks, I actually listened because of him. So, because that's where he wants to go,
Uh-huh.
my husband. And so I got to do that as well. And then now you're coming back from Hawaii, and I'm looking forward. I've never been to Hawaii. I would love to do that. And I think the Disney, we're grandparents. I would love the opportunity to take our grandkids to Disney and how to do it and how to get through the parks and where to stay and how to find a cheap rental car. And all of that's been unexpectedly wonderful.
And so what Kathy's talking about here is we pick a different theme each month, a different travel theme. We try to pick destinations people want to go to, like the national parks, like Hawaii, like Disney, and then we host weekly live webinars, which are also recorded. So if you miss them, you can listen to the recording or watch the recording later. But you can also come live and watch the webinars. We're giving all kind of tips. We bring in other members. We bring in a team of people that help me to give their perspectives and their tips because everyone has some different ideas and strategies so that we can really help you. Not just we're definitely helping you fly free, but save on all aspects of travel and even get some ideas for where to go and what to do when you're there and how to save on the things there are to do. So yeah, I think a lot of people don't realize how much great information you get there as well as your plan to fly free and your one-on-one help.
You had recently, I think it was a week or two ago, the young woman who was the expert hiker.
Right.
Oh, what was her name? Megan?
Mallory. Mhm.
Mallory. Oh,
Mhm.
she was fascinating. She was wonderful. And my daughter, who's 21 years old, is a hiker, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if Lauren knows all of these great hiking tips. She was great, and they're very specific, useful bits of advice. This isn't just a big, broad brushstroke. These are do this, do this, do this. Very, very specific tips and techniques. What is the protocol of hiking? What is the standard? All of the etiquette, all of the safety issues that I just never expected. um, I didn't think about that as somebody who likes to hike. So I really appreciated all of that. Practical advice was more than I expected. And the funny thing is that I thought that I was going to only need this program for 1 month. In fact, as you know, I signed up for only 1 month.
And that was way back at the beginning. Now it's not a monthly option, but
Good.
yeah.
Because very quickly I attended one webinar and I said to myself, I'm never going to understand all of this in 1 month. And very quickly I converted my subscription to the annual subscription. And I'm so glad that I did that. I'm using it every single month. Even though now I feel like I know a little bit what I'm doing, I also have that safety net of knowing that Lynn is there if I need her to help me figure something out. So I'm
And your experience, like working with me, has you feel I'm responsive and yeah.
completely in Hawaii. She's emailing me. So
I checked once a day, try to get back to people. It took me a little longer than normal, but
I
um
appreciate all your panelists. Like I said about Mallory, I think your panelists have, great experiences and unique experiences, and everybody does things a little bit different. Everyone has different travel priorities. Um, all of that One of the things on the Disney that I liked about your panel was you talked about how, okay, for our family trip, we wanted to stay on a Disney property. And this is how we got our best deal on a Disney property. But your panelists who go every year over and over again, who have tons of experience, say, what we're doing now is a timeshare and renting a whole apartment. And that different strokes for different folks was very interesting and insightful.
Yeah, I love our panels too. And we do bring in experts a lot, like the hiking expert. We brought in some Disney experts and to bring even more value, but even just our members and our panelists, because yeah, we have people who are retired, we have people who have young kids, we have people with kids in high school, we've got just single people and couples and families of six. So we try to bring all of those into the mix so that you can get strategies for all those different situations, and because this really does work for everyone. And it's just great to hear from other people how they're making it work.
And strategies about how to get to places like, the national parks. One of the side things that I picked up on was I don't know anything about the middle of the United States. I know the East Coast. That's it. But hearing people say the way we did this was we booked from here to here, this hub, and then we flew into here. That was huge. I had no idea. I didn't even know half of these places in the middle of the United States existed. I'm sorry
Yeah.
to say that my geography isn't good that way. I mean, I would personally much rather know about how to go from Frankfurt to Singapore personally. But Dan doesn't want to know about that. He says, I want to know about the United States. So anyway, that was really cool too.
Yeah, because some of these national parks are in the middle of nowhere. So you do have to understand, so it's not you have to fly to a major city and then drive. That's what we have to do a lot. And just so you know that in advance, and you can plan accordingly. But so would you recommend the program to people, and maybe even someone who's a little hesitant about making the investment, or wondering, can they actually fly totally free? Like, what would you tell people?
I would say that you would never believe it until you did it yourself, that this was definitely something that you could do with the right support and information and technical assistance. It is not intuitive. There are definitely tricks. There are definitely pieces of knowledge that you're just not going to know unless you have an expert in the industry helping you with this. So just those little tricks save either points or money whenever you need to fly, especially if you're flying often, like as a retired couple like Dan and I, or if you're traveling with a family on a budget, which is what I think we're all trying to do. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that I had two kids that I needed to also, fly or drive somewhere, and flying was always the best way to do it. But hypothetically, if I had to book round trip flights for everyone, for four people in my household, it's going to cost me $1,500 to $2,000 if I didn't know what I know now. But because I know, and because I have Lynn in my life, I know that I could do it for free or very affordably. And that's huge. And not only that, but once I learn it once, I can repeat that
Right.
saving over and over again, and really truly have the quality of life and the big travel experience that we all want for our families. That's part of the big picture of what we want to do for our children. We don't want them just knowing what it's like to live in small town America. We want them to have the experience and the courage and the wisdom and the confidence of knowing that they can enter a city either out in the boondocks or in a big city and still know what they're doing. And the only way you do that is by showing them. So this is a gift of confidence and experience. And I don't know who has been saying it, but Kids really don't need a ton of gifts to open under a Christmas tree. What they really need is confidence and experiences. Those are the things they're going to remember. They're not going to remember the video game that they opened up at Christmas or for their birthday. They're going to remember when they went to the national parks with mom and dad for their lifetimes. And they're going to have the confidence and desire to do that for their own families. That's huge. That's a lifetime impact. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I could not have said that better myself. That is like that was really was my number one reason for figuring this out for myself was that so that I couldn't take my kids anywhere unless we could drive. That was all we could afford. So to be able to take them somewhere up to 6 times a year and to have been able to take them to Europe, which I never would have imagined we could have afforded. Yeah, and show them the Mona Lisa and show them the statue of David that they're learning about in school and take them to a luau in Hawaii. And yeah, I love the idea of, putting them in a foreign country too, where they don't speak the language and realizing that's not that scary. Like it was really scary for me at 40 to go and do that. But they're going to have done it at such a young age. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, it was fine. We've done that before and it's no big deal, you know.
And you're building a culture of travel and experience and your family values. And that's worth the cost of this program, in my opinion.